Hello and welcome to episode 18 of An Earful Podcast. And before we introduce who our guest is this week,
I'm back.
Matty's back.
Oh shit.
the third Matty. Oh shit. How's it been, mate?
It's good. Yeah, been really good. Feels like I've been gone for a while.
It pretty much
You
has
have.
been a month in podcast months.
Podcast.
But only 2 weeks.
But
Yeah.
but it's felt longer than 2 weeks, but in a good way. In a really good way.
Well, nice to have you back, mate.
But I have missed out on a few things, and it's going to be the episode for today.
It is.
Who
Which-
is it?
Go on, you can.
Can I do it?
Yeah, go on.
Shall I introduce it?
Yeah.
StaticX,
Yes.
which
So-
is a big one. Like, it's crazy that we've actually got this one.
Yeah. I
But,
think,
This was fun.
yeah, I think the whole, just the interview in general, the whole going at the back of the Ritz, feeling like, why the hell are we here interviewing quite a big band, was a strange
The
feeling. against it.
lineup for the show was massive anyway to begin with.
Yeah, definitely. I think they pulled out all the stops on the lineup to do with the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
But anyway, Sam's here.
My name's not Matt.
It's Jamie, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so
This is Sam.
this is a debut, I guess.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, everyone.
So if
Hey.
you've
Everyone say hi, Sam.
Yeah. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
if you've managed to watch any of our YouTube videos now, that's thanks to Sam.
Yeah, so I've just been looking after that and photos and stuff and bringing the whole visual side to An Earful Podcast, an eyeful to an earful kind of thing. See what I
He
did
gets
there?
it. He gets it.
Yeah.
I
See
think,
what you did.
yeah. I've never talked on a podcast before, so this is pretty interesting. But yeah, the StaticX things was really cool. Yeah, big old interview.
You had the opportunity to obviously go in the photo pit and doing some of your shots.
Yeah, and that was absolutely insane. Like, I mean, interviewing and doing the photos and videos and stuff has already been cool, but the fact we managed to get a photo pass for that gig, and the O2 Ritz is like one of the biggest shows I've ever shot at. And also just watching them and being that close was insane. So
Yeah.
it was really good. Some good stuff came out of it. Probably the thumbnail for this video has probably come out of that. So
Is that your favourite one?
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Looked, it's the one with like the orange and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that we're using.
Yeah.
that came out pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, awesome. Thank you for that, I guess. So because you guys are
We didn't do
obviously-
it.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you, StaticX, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yep. And thank you
Definitely,
to
yeah.
Martin from Bespoke Media PR for getting us the opportunity to speak to StaticX and also giving Sam the opportunity to shoot the set at the beginning.
Yeah. Props. Thank you.
But otherwise than that, before we get to the interview, it's worth mentioning where you can find us. If you're new listeners from the previous 2 episodes, that being Sean or Rome, hello. If you are listening now, you can check us out on all of our social media. That is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube now, because obviously we are now doing the video content to do with the interviews. And make sure you spread the word of our good old podcast. Enjoy.
Okay, hello. Welcome,
Hey.
StaticX. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Really appreciate it. I've been watching some clips of the shows lately, and you've been killing it. It's looking incredible. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Thank you, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
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 no,
it was a lot of fun. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it looks crazy, especially the lineup you've got. It. Who chose that lineup? It is stacked.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
It was cool. It's just kind of natural. Just all our friends, you know.
Yeah,
So it just kind of fell into place. You know, it didn't really take a whole lot of effort to make it happen. It was just really cool. Yeah.
just a couple of phone calls and it was organized.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Well, and we've been out with Wednesday and Dope for
Yeah.
most of the year, actually. So yeah, it was pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then you're mixing it up when you go to the US, aren't you? You've got Devil Driver. joining
Devil
you as
Driver
well.
and Raven Black.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So you're looking forward to getting them on board? Obviously, see the difference in the crowd and stuff like that.
It's there's no difference really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than being back in the States. you
Yeah.
know,
I think that's the best thing when you're playing shows with friends and all of that. It's like effortless in organisation and stuff like that. I think the atmosphere is a lot better. You don't have that like kind of like getting used to each other and stuff like that. It's more of a just hello again, and then it's all over again.
We go way back with these guys, so it's like just hanging out with old friends again.
Yeah, cool. Have you been in Manchester for long today? Have you done much?
We got in probably not early this morning. I think around 12 maybe.
Maybe yeah. I was still asleep.
I think we got in and we were sleeping.
Yeah, I didn't get out of bed till 1. So
we stayed up with the Soil guys last night.
All right.
We toured with them in 2002, and
right,
and so we were swapping old stories.
Yeah, amazing, cool. Did you get up to much last night when you went out with the Soil boys, though?
Say what?
Did you get up to much when you went out with the guys in Soil last night?
Just a lot of drinking.
Yeah,
Don't blame me.
It was funny though. The night before that, Tim King and Tony stayed up, and yesterday I was up. I was in the lounge, and Tim gets up and he comes down and Tim just looks tired, and he goes, "Why didn't you warn me about staying up with your bass player and listening to Morbid Angel?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, at one point we were listening to the album," and he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll have one more if you will."
Hey, he asked.
Yeah, I know.
He started it.
Not like I was like, "Fuck you, drink."
I said, "You know what, Tim? You deserve it."
That's how it starts. You're like,
Yeah.
one more will be fine.
One more.
And then hours later,
Yeah.
you're in
5
a
o'clock in the
hole.
morning, can't put the key in the door or something like that. That's pretty much that. So how's the tour been so far?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
It's been awesome, really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome turnouts, great fan reaction. It's been great.
Yeah. So over 20 years of touring, how's the crowds changed? Have you noticed any difference in terms of like the past 20 years?
As far as audiences, not really, man.
So I find
They pretty much do the same crazy shit they've always done.
We were in Scotland last night, and that was it was almost like a throwback to '99. It was just constant crowd surfing,
Yeah.
and I think we expect. I mean, I'm older. I'm middle aged, so I was thinking, well, before we went out, I thought, well, maybe some of our fans will be like that, and the shows. It's been nuts. It's just been crazy. So I'll take that.
Cool.
I love that in a gig because when you lose yourself and the band are the highlight. What annoys me about crowds, little rant of mine, is social media, these phones. Everyone's watching a gig now through their own screens. And I
don't get it, but why get mad? So, that's how you want to enjoy the show. Fine, I don't care.
And really, it's not. I mean, there's been people videoing.
But it hasn't been too much of a problem.
Yeah, it just hasn't been bad.
Yeah, it's not one of those strains that's distracting you throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
You're just enjoying the playing, and excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we've got Zero as the front man. How did what creative process went into, first of all, deciding who should, frontman the band now, and the mask as well? Obviously, it's eye-catching and a great tribute.
Well, the mask and the Zero persona, that came about from our desire to keep the focus on the anniversary, the original lineup, and remembering Wayne for the guy he was, and Zero being who he is, he's a pretty well-known name, so we didn't want to have a Van Hagar situation where it was like, here's Sammy Hagar singing with Static X, so now it's Static Hagar,
Which would be interesting.
Right? Yeah. I would have asked him. But,
There's a future collaboration.
Yeah, right?
Side project.
Yeah. So we decided, that would be a cool way to to keep the focus off of him. Like we didn't want it to come across like here's StaticX with their new singer. You know, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then the other aspect of that was how do we represent Wayne on stage in a cool way. The idea of the hologram got thrown out, and that quickly got dismissed. There's no energy,
Of course.
with us, it was always about the energy between the four dudes on stage, and you're just not going to get that with the hologram. So, again, we went to the mask thing, and we tried a couple of different things, but what we settled on, was I think was really cool. We went back to all those merchandise items that we had with the skulls, with Wayne's hair and beard, and how do we do something like that? And we had a friend of ours, Lainey, who does masks for John 5 and Slipknot and a bunch of other people. She came up with that design.
I love it. Yeah, because again, like the artist you've just mentioned, it lets the music speak for what it is, and like you said, it's obviously being a difference. It allows it to be StaticX and that tribute to Wayne. I really dig it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's more of a focus on a tribute rather than being like people look into the mystery of who's behind the mask.
Yeah,
it completely takes that away, and it's doing them showing that it's a fitting tribute towards obviously remembering 20 years since obviously the Wisconsin Death Trip album. Next question would be, what was the defining moment that made you want to do this tour? Was there a catalyst for it, or was it just like?
Well, I mean, I don't think there was just one moment that.
There was a moment where we knew that we had done the right thing by doing the tour, which was 15 seconds into the first rehearsal, playing Blood for Days, and we're like, oh yeah, and you felt like that, and all the old songs came back, quick, But then the other defining moments were Wayne's sister Amy came out to the Atlanta show, and Tony's kept in contact with her, and all decisions he runs through hers.
Before we released anything, I ran everything by her and made sure her and the family were okay with everything we did, they've been really cool, very supportive.
With you playing, Wisconsin Death Trip again, is it bringing back fond memories of touring? And obviously, you've had years of touring.
It's reminding us how tired we were.
Why?
It's going to seem weird to put it this way, but, Death Trip, we toured for almost 3 years on Death Trip. But it really was kind of a whirlwind. I mean, it went by so fast. Maybe not at first when we were on an RV and sharing beds and everything, but it went by really quick. And we were younger, and you're more concerned with. Obviously, you want things to go well and everything, but you're really kind of paying attention to the business, and you go play your shows, and so I don't want to say we had fun, and that time on the stage every night was our fun, but I think that now we enjoy it a lot more.
Do you have any fond memories of like the recording process? Obviously, where you debut album, fond memories of the actual recording process of that album?
Well, just Tony said this a couple of times. It's a really good way to put it, which is, that first day walking into the studio and you're like, whoa, we're recording an album, and it's going to be on a major label. I mean, that was a pretty big deal. And we had Ulrich Wilde there, like everything about it was, and I with the last statement, I didn't mean to say like, we didn't enjoy any of it.
Yeah.
We enjoyed all of it, but it just went by so fast.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. It just was. It was a cool process. It was a quick process, That album was only 22 days
Yeah.
front to back. And then we waited almost a year to put it out.
Yeah. But it was worth it, obviously worth it in the end, and you got that.
Yeah.
So with this being a tribute to Wayne, like this entire tour and stuff like that, what was like your first memory of meeting Wayne?
First meeting with Wayne.
First memory.
I auditioned for his band in 1988.
Right.
It was called Deep Blue Dream, and I got his number from Billy Corgan,
Right.
and I got demo tapes from the bass player, whose name was Eric, and I learned these songs. It was so different, you know. I was playing hard rock and metal, and this stuff was goth, you know, but it just was really nice kind of stuff. And so I memorized these songs note for note and worked on my tempos, and I go in and set up, and Wayne comes in, and I barely got a hi out of him. You know, at that time he just rarely, if ever, talked.
Yeah.
And I count off the first song. We play. We get into the first verse, and he turns around and he stops me. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm done.
Yeah.
And so I stand up and I start taking off my cymbals, and he goes, "Can we pay you to stay in this band?" And that was it. You know,
Yeah.
that was the beginning of
Cool.
what eventually became StaticX.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a great memory to have.
Yeah. Of course.
Mhm.
So especially have that reaction from.
Yeah, I felt because you know, I was so different than all the other drummers they'd had.
Yeah.
You know,
Of
so
course, yeah. Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
it was great.
And for yourself?
Well, I actually met Kenny first, and I got the demo from him. And you know, he had long hair, and he kind of looked like a thrasher dude. And
Yeah.
you know, I was getting the thrash, so I got the demo, and you know, it was kind of a grungy kind of thing. And so I learned the songs, and then like a week later went into the rehearsal studio, and that's where I met Wayne. And I walk in the door, and I see this dude in a fucking like kind of button-up shirt, multicolors, and you know, with a bell-bottom pants, and straight long hair down to his ass, and like he looked like Ian Astbury from the Cult. And I was like, "Is this the right gig?"
Yeah.
He knew we were weird.
I didn't know how until I met Wayne.
You'll do.
Yeah.
So you guys have an upcoming album in November. What was the thoughts coming into recording new stuff?
What was the what?
What was the thoughts coming into like recording a new album?
Sorry, the first what?
Thoughts.
First thoughts?
Yeah.
Ah,
Sorry, Northern
yeah,
accent.
sorry, the
That's
accent.
all right. No,
Yeah.
don't worry.
Between the accent and soil playing, yeah.
And we're rock musicians.
Yeah, right. Deaf. So, I think what he's asking is, how do we start? How do we start doing this?
Yeah.
The record. Okay. Well, it all started with these 5 demos that I got from an old producer friend of ours who had gotten them from Wayne shortly before his passing, and then he gave them to me. And I sat on them for a couple of years because I was like, well, what am I going to do with this? Yeah. But then I revisited that stuff and shared it with these guys. And, we came to a point where we were like, yeah, maybe we can do something with this stuff. And so we started working on it. And that really got the ball rolling on the whole record idea, you know?
Cool. How long was the process from recording? How long did you spend in the studio with doing it?
We'll let you know when we're done.
Yeah.
We're still working on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool.
It feels like you never really finish a record anyway. You're always wanting to tweak things.
It's actually that is Ulrich Wilde lives by that. which is you never really finish it. You just put it out
Yeah,
there.
you just get up to that dedeline and you don't have a decision after that, do you?
Yeah.
It's, there's no
Well,
choice.
we didn't have a deadline per se with Death Trip, and at the time we were recording Project Regeneration, it's the same thing. You know, there was no deadline, there was no label involved. So then the other two rules that Ulrich lives by came in, which is number one, screaming is fun, and number two, you have fun in my studio. And it's a rule. You have to have fun whenever Ulrich's working. So
Which isn't a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's not. He's so fun to be around, and he keeps it lighthearted. And so you just kind of naturally push yourself. You want to get, if he approves it, there's some history behind it.
Yeah.
So there's you don't. When we were mixing Death Trip, we were all kind of being picky, and that was when he said, it's done. We're done. Let's turn it in. And so, you never finish it. Otherwise, I mean, musicians are either so picky or they just get to a point where they just kind of get, you can actually make something worse by just keep going on.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like a Too Many Cooks situation.
That Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy record comes to mind.
Yeah.
But if Axl wants us to tour with him, we love it.
That'll happen.
Cool. Thank you very much for talking to us anyway. I think we're a bit caught short on time. But
Right on, man.
cool.
Really
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that interview with Ken and Tony from StaticX. This part of the podcast is now just going to be a little bit of a review of the gig that we managed to get the opportunity to watch. What was everyone's thoughts on that?
This is so weird us not doing it. How does it feel?
What does what?
Being on a podcast?
Yeah, I just introed this section. Check me out.
Perfectly in one take.
Come at
One go.
Come at me.
Come at me, bro.
Funny thing, yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I've just appeared out of nowhere and
popped
jacked your stuff, but
it's okay.
hey,
You can jack my stuff anytime you want, Sam.
Saves us saying the same thing 10 times in a row, trying to get it right.
We got to get onto this section somewhere, don't we? So we managed to watch the whole gig. They pretty much played all of Wisconsin Death Trip, right?
Yep, and other hits that they've had in the past.
Yeah. Now I've never seen StaticX before and never really listened to him much back in the day, but that show was absolutely killer. They really smashed it.
Yeah. Overall, I think they absolutely smashed it. The atmosphere in that, I've not seen like an atmosphere like in that type of gig for such a long time.
I think you made a really good point, Matt Pearson. Do you
Full
use,
name? Do you want my address in there as well? Jesus.
do you use surnames on this?
We
Yeah,
don't.
usually, yeah.
This is a bit crazy. Like
Yeah, that's
Just
three
throw the
Matts.
name Matt out.
Yeah. So yeah, you said something when we were watching them, Pearson, that was really interesting. Like you said that it was like watching them in the 90s, like back in the prime.
Yeah, like we were up on, after talking to StaticX, we were up on the balcony, and this was as Soil were playing.
Yeah.
And when StaticX started playing, because we were on the balcony, we got this massive view as you were in the pit photoing them.
Yeah.
And you just saw crowd surfing. No one was on their phones. Everyone was moshing, pushing one another, having a great time.
Yeah.
Like if they get to do every gig like that, I don't blame them for doing this.
No, but Ken made the reference of when we were speaking to him that the last show they did up in Scotland had that vibe of like being back in the 90s, and I think that show in Manchester must have been like a carbon copy of what they experienced, obviously further up the country. Like you said, if they're getting that every night, I don't bloody blame them for wanting to relive it, because why would you not? That atmosphere was absolutely insane.
I think the lineup massively helped with that as well.
Yeah.
You had Dope opening, which is crazy. And apparently they've only played the UK a few times.
Yeah.
Which he brought up during the set that they were playing.
Yeah.
Then you had Wednesday 13, which I think was new for all of us.
Yeah.
Let's
I've
just
never
talk
heard
about
of
that for a minute. So
that was an interesting set to watch. That Wednesday 13th.
I think there was more costume change and prop changes than an actual Guns N' Roses show.
Yeah, that it was. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was awesome. Like, it was really creative and looked really cool.
Yeah.
But if you've not checked out Wednesday 13 before and you went into there never hearing of them, aka myself, and then you get this guy that comes out with like a face strapped to the back of his face and like
and lights,
crazy,
and
like,
then a head mask on top of his head.
pulling a heart out of like these leather dungarees or whatever it was, and then,
Yeah.
like, crushing it, and then like shaking blood all over himself. And I swear at some point that blood was like going like on the crowd and
Yeah.
all sorts. It was mental, but really, really tight band, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty
I
sick.
think they merged theatrics with actual playing a show very well
Yeah,
together.
definitely. We only saw Part of Soil,
We did.
but from what we did see, they were pretty good.
Yeah, we saw Halo.
We did see Halo and we saw Black Betty.
Signature song, and Black
And
Betty, yeah.
he was straight in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took his mic
That
stand into the crowd, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
That's sick.
And then you just saw this swarm of people and he disappeared within the crowd.
Yeah.
I think it was fair to say that entire gig was just a nostalgic early 2000s trip. I think that's the only way to describe it.
Yeah, it was definitely comparable to, like, it was almost like it was an outdoor festival inside the venue.
Yeah.
It's like just everyone was like, it was that like hot and all that, like people tops off all sorts and just like crowd surf after crowd surf after crowd surf, and yeah, it was mental. I missed a lot of it because I was at the front and had my back to the rest of the
The crowd.
crowd. But
How was that for you though?
Oh, it was weird, man. Like, it like just really weird. Like, it was weird. The weirder part of that is that obviously nobody crowd surfed like at the beginning. Otherwise, I probably would have had like pure whiplash.
Yeah,
from
that's why there's the 3 songs.
the
and
free
then-
song rule. Yeah, which is probably a good thing considering. But yeah, no, it was really cool. Like I said, I've never seen StaticX live before, and being at the front when Bled for Days came on, when they came onto it, and the whole intro thing they had was mental as well. How it like they had like that beat, and then it like the logo started to like get more and more like
Yeah, they had like a massive screen at the
Yeah.
back, didn't they? And then these 2 banner screens.
I think a
as
reason
well.
at disadvantage of this because we was on the side whilst
Oh, you wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah,
then.
we didn't get to see
No.
the back of the.
Yeah, so they had so when you stood there looking at them, they had this big, massive screen above behind the drum riser that was on a
Yeah.
stand, and then you had 2 LED panels that were like in sync with the music, so they were like lighting up. And then eventually, when they were about to come on, you had the big StaticX logo, and then a photo of Wayne Static came up as well.
right.
And that's the point where everyone like kind of lost the shit and went mental, and
Yeah.
and then they came on and then played Bled for Days, which was just like mental. Like that
That's
I've
a
never heard that
song.
song before, and it was like it is a song and a half. That
It
It's
is.
one that gets stuck in your head. Like I found myself. Yeah.
yeah.
I think I've had Static X stuck in my head. I'm not joking. Since we've done that interview, I'm not gonna lie. Either Push It or Bled for Days or something's been stuck in my head since.
Yeah, I'm annoyed that I didn't. Not that I didn't give them credit because I always knew they were a good band. But when I was growing up listening to the new metal kind of stuff, I only knew the hits of Push It and Bled for Days, and that was
Yeah.
it. And then after this show, I thought, why have I not just listened to every single album? And
It was
gone
definitely
through it?
glossed over, wasn't it? Like, I think it's only as of recent when we've obviously coming up to their them going back on tour and stuff like that, where it's sort of like they've had a rediscovery of them, which is great because it might mean like a new generation of actual like audience might be able to like rediscover it and kind of revive, not as in revive like just in general, just kind of add more to their fan base.
Yeah, I think the whole reason they're doing it is very, they're very forward with this is a tribute for Wayne and 20 years from
Yeah,
Wisconsin Death Trip, and I like how important that is to them.
yeah,
And as you've heard in the interview, that they're checking everything with Wayne's sister and going through everything, and Tony's very conscious of that.
yeah. There's a lot of thought that's gone into it.
And you can tell that a lot of thought has gone into it with the stage setup. Because I was watching a few YouTube clips at the gig we were at. Because obviously they got a different perspective from in the crowd as we were on the balcony, and the Wayne Static was a constant tribute at the back on that drum riser. I really liked that.
It was never like a new beginner or stuff like that. It was always like, this is a reminder of the past. It's like to relive the good times.
Yeah, and I think the new album that they're going to be bringing out next year will be as well.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
Project Regeneration, isn't it?
Yeah, I think whatever they do with that is going to be very interesting, but I think the same again, it'll be for Wayne, very forward thinking, because they've used some of the old stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, I reckon there'll be a lot on that album that's obviously very reminiscent of Wisconsin Death Trip as well. They'll probably really go back to the roots. I mean, when we interviewed them, they didn't open up too much about. We talked a little bit about the process, but they didn't kind of give away much of the influence and stuff for it. I suppose it was just that they wanted to get together and do something for Wayne.
I think because they didn't take that approach with it either. They never said, "What's our influences going in here?" They've just gone in.
Yeah, it was a load of demos that they had anyway from the Wayne days, wasn't it? So they've taken a lot of demos and just kind of. I don't know, like just redone them or worked from that. Because I swear, like was there a song where there was some Wayne vocals in there, like on a backing track? I'm pretty certain there was something during the set that was like pretty reminiscent, like the last song or something.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I can't vaguely. Bear in mind, we were recording this a couple of days after the gig, so we've slept a couple of times since then. But I'm pretty certain the last song of the set, Zero didn't do any vocals, and it was on backing track, or parts of it were on backing track. I'm pretty certain.
It might be possible because they finished with Push It. So there is a possibility that the additional layers in terms of like backing track and stuff like maybe add Wayne on it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like thicken out, so then it's not like whoever Zero is, though there is like large rumours towards it. Yeah. That it was still giving that static sound. It was still reminiscent of Wayne and not someone else.
Yeah, it was quite a modest ending really to the gig, because it wasn't really. Obviously, they did like the bow and all that and stuff. But they ended it by just having that big photo of Wayne on behind the drum riser, didn't they?
I think they're very conscious of the whole Wayne thing. Was a bit obviously Wayne is what is StaticX essentially. Like, I mean, when they did the group photo when they finished the show with the crowd, Zero wasn't part of it. It was obviously the rest of the band.
Yeah. And speaking of Zero, we didn't have an opportunity to find out who he was when we went backstage.
No.
We're not keeping any kind of secrets or anything.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that though.
No, yeah. So, but he was ace. Absolutely, so much energy.
Stage energy,
I love the mask.
Was insane.
The mask is insane.
You can tell now after speaking to Tony that it was clearly designed by the same person that made the Slipknot mask, and it looks very similar. But I love how it looks similar to Wayne as well, in terms of the shape of the face and.
I love the idea, just the concept behind it. I think it's so new, like a unique approach to it. I think that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, especially we left the venue after hearing Zero sing majority of all songs.
Yep.
Got in the car, started playing StaticX on the way back, and I would not know the difference from Zero to Wayne Static. That's how good live I thought it was.
Yeah, and that's a total credit to them really going all out to do a full tribute to him as well.
Yeah, totally.
Like, even the way that Zero kind of behaved on stage was very, very reminiscent of the Wayne days as well.
100%.
Yeah,
and also the rest of the band. I mean, considering the last gig, they were. When did they go on hiatus? Was it like 2014?
Yeah,
they played that gig like they.
If I'm right, that wasn't all the members from then. It's the original lineup from the first album, not the lineup that was in 2014.
Yeah, but like considering how tight they were, it was like they'd never really went on hiatus. So.
It's like they've never been away.
If they play every show with that much energy and Zero brings 100% the way he did when we went watching them, I don't blame them for bringing out another album, continuing touring.
No.
Yeah. When this episode goes out, are they still on tour? It's quite a long tour that they were doing. I think we might have only got the beginning of it.
They're going to the US, aren't they? And Devil Driver is joining them instead of Soil, and another band that the name has escaped me, which I can find out.
Yeah, I think they had just played Australia when I was looking, so they did Australia, then the UK.
Yeah.
So probably when this goes out, like you said, they'll be doing the American side of the tour. So it'd be really interesting if there are any listeners out there who are checking out this podcast ahead of maybe going to watch them. Let us know.
Yeah, we'd
get
love
in touch and let us know what you thought and share your pictures and all that business as well. It'd be pretty cool.
All of that cool shit.
Yeah.
So
bit of dead silence for you all there.
Yeah.
So yeah, in November the 10th is the latest one I've got up. They're in Oklahoma, with Devil Driver, which Devil Driver is fantastic live. Be interesting to see how that.
Joe, I've never seen Devil Driver live.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
it's quite an interesting one because they're probably questionably. I mean, I've listened to a couple of Devil Driver songs. I'd probably say they're a lot heavier than...
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It'd be interesting to see the difference of the lineup. So if StaticX, you want to fly us out to America to see a show so we can compare the two.
Speak to you longer as well. That'd be cool. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. I think there'll be loads of energy at those shows.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be. I think that's just why it's been the lineup it is.
Yeah.
Just to maintain that energy.
I think another thing that helped the show that we got to see was like the actual venue itself. Such a good decision because you've got that packed standing section.
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
But it was all the way to the back. There was no gaps.
Yeah, when I was trying to get out to come like meet you guys at the balcony, I like proper struggled to get through everyone.
Yeah.
But it's good venue, the Ritz, because you've got like the balcony at the top where people who are a bit more chill can go and hang and it's good.
I think I've got to say that Ritz is like one of my favourite venues. I know it's like not in some senses the best design venue, but I think just in overall preference, I think it's such a good venue. Like, I mean, just atmosphere wise, you can't beat it, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think StaticX is the first band I've seen there. That's the first time I've been. But it's a really nice venue.
Yeah. I can't think of the... I think it must have been Low Atlantis last time I
went. I was there. Yeah, we both went to that. But it's a good sounding venue as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If you see any bands that you want to go watch and you're from Manchester and they're playing the Ritz, just don't go to watch the band, just go for the Ritz.
Yeah. You spend that money and just check out that sweet ass venue.
Like 2 bars either side. Drink responsibly.
Or don't. Your choice.
But yeah. I don't think there's really much else to say because there wasn't really anything, the set and stuff was all really tight. It was a great return for them. The songs sounded amazing.
Yeah.
And the support acts were really cool. It was a really good combination of bands. And yeah.
You can tell they're all friends and all getting on well just because of how well
and they're
it
just
gelled.
enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not concerned about how's the social media presence and are we doing this? It's they go play a show, have a good time, and everyone in that crowd also has a good time. I've not seen one person on their phone.
No.
And as you know, pet peeves being a segment we do, it's one thing that pisses me off more than anything at a gig or cinema.
Have you, this leads on to this actually, have we all seen the Jack White post? Might you be able to interject conversation onto this?
Matt's not got a microphone.
Oh.
Nope, not happening.
Nope.
Do you want to come share this mic?
Go on, hop over. So, for those who don't know, essentially, Jack White's done a statement for his upcoming shows that no phoned videos or any other related stuff like that are allowed at his shows while they're playing.
Basically, you've got to put them in like a pouch, so you can keep them on your person, but you basically got to put your phone in this pouch, and it locks itself for the time you're in that venue. Now, if you wanted to go on your phone, you can leave where you are in the venue, in the crowd, and go to like the lobby, and it opens up for you there, so you can use your phone. Now, the best thing about it is he's taking his own like photographer, like videographer or whatever on tour with him, who's getting photos and videos from each show and uploading them to this website where you can go onto it and download the videos. So now if you want to post about it later on your socials and that, you can just download them off there, chuck it on Instagram, chuck a photo on there. Obviously, it's not like having your own, but at least you get to experience his like gig in full.
I've got quite a controversial opinion when it comes to this in this room. I actually don't mind
the idea of people having the phones and stuff and all that and taking pictures and watching the gig through the phone.
No, there's a boundary to it, right?
All people.
No,
the guy who takes photos at gigs.
Jesus.
No,
I get why he's doing it. You know, I understand that, and I know that it's not like as strict as being like you're not allowed. You know what I mean? Like it's not that. But like the first ever big gig I went to was Metallica Death Magnetic Tour, and for me that was like such a massive experience. And I remember after that show I'd videoed and took loads of photos, and I probably stared at those photos and watched those videos for like 3 or 4 weeks after, and I got to like relive that moment again and again and again. And it's cool watching, like, obviously, you know, professional photos and videos and stuff like that, like live videos and stuff of the gig. But there's something about that is from where you've stood, and you can then watch that and relate back to where you were for that gig. So yeah, controversial opinion.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Like I can kind of see where you're coming from. Like, obviously, looking back at your own experiences there at the gig, but
Pearson's absolutely seething.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm moderating an argument. Like, order, hang on. This is brilliant.
You could probably do an episode
but-
totally on
Yeah.
this, couldn't you?
you actually could.
Yeah.
Bonus content coming soon.
I'm just throwing it back to the past 2 gigs I've been to because
Yeah.
I don't know how, but it became the worst. Well, one of them was back when I was in the US, so I'm watching Scott Stapp, and I thought, you know what, it might not be as bad over here, but it's just as worse. So I was watching him. I had a decent spot there. I thought, right, clear view and everything. Not got no tall fucker in front of me. I'm pretty tall myself, and I always end up with someone else taller in front of me. But I felt like, thankfully, there I was fine. But then we like had 2 women. One of them who was live streaming the whole like performance, right, on a phone onto Facebook with a phone held up in which I couldn't see part of the stage. So I was basically watching the performance through a phone. And another one was this like guy, and he was FaceTiming someone back home so she could watch it, but her fucking massive face was on the phone looking at me throughout the whole gig. And I thought, oh, he puts it down. I thought, right, he's done now. 5 minutes later, back up again. And throughout the whole duration of the gig, that was happening. And it was the same as Rasmus when I got back into Manchester. When watching them, and 2 people in front of me constantly filming for the whole gig. I thought, right, they put the phone down there, maybe they're going to leave it. No, straight back up again. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Why would you want to film the whole gig? For one, the person behind you is watching the gig through your phone, which is frustrating for them because they've come here to watch the performance. They don't want to be watching it through your phone. They might as well be the people back in at home watching Facebook Live. You know what I mean? Like, what's point in that?
Yeah, I thought you were going to take a breath then.
Yeah, I think you didn't stop then.
No, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, fair enough. Like, I'm guilty of taking my phone out of my pocket and filming for 15 seconds, putting it back down, and like maybe getting 2 clips or whatever. Take a couple photos. That's fine. Like, you know what I mean? But just don't stay there with your phone.
Definitely worth its own episode.
Yeah, it is.
I see
Totally
both
worth.
sides of this.
Yeah.
This is something comedians do all the time. Me and Sam will know because we like podcasts unlike you two. Joe Rogan talks about this all the time. Comedians have these pouches so you're not filming content that's, you know, couldn't be stolen.
Yeah.
So they're working out bits and stuff. I think with music it's being applied as the same thing, but it isn't. And it's ruining people's experience because they don't get to relive it later. And you're forcing someone to enjoy it in that moment and telling them how they should enjoy something. However, people who do want to live in the moment and enjoy just what they're seeing, it makes it a better experience for everyone. So,
Like you said, there's 2 sides to it, but like if you take it back, I'm not gonna like completely divulge into it just because we'll be here all day otherwise.
Yeah, time.
And I'll probably leave it on this, but if you go back 10 years, but you're back to the end of time, that there wasn't you were not allowed to film shit. That's why you had the Guns N' Roses St. Louis riots back in like the 90s because someone was filming it. Axl Rose had a tantrum, stormed off stage after 3 songs, and they torched the venue down basically because of all that shit. So there's always been that attitude against it, and all of a sudden it's just popped up because of social media. But
yeah.
I'll leave it on that because we'll be here all day.
Yeah,
otherwise.
I think we'll discuss this another time.
Yeah, pick this
But
up, definitely.
Yeah.
Coming back to it, I didn't have that experience at StaticX, and I loved it because of it.
Yeah.
I loved it because I saw people having a good time, living in the moment. I saw people in a mosh pit that didn't look like they wanted to be in a mosh pit. It looked great. Like, that's why I brought it up, saying it's like the 90s, because...
Your phone wouldn't have survived that.
No, not at all.
No.
Some of those pits were mental. Tony was slapping throughout. You saw him, like, full of energy.
Slapping a bit.
Zero bouncing, and he definitely had control of the crowd. And his vocals sounded mint. I can't complain about that gig we saw.
No, I couldn't fault it.
I loved that gig. So yeah, StaticX. I loved it.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah.
So I think that's a nice way to bring it to an end. So
Yeah, totally.
if you've got this far, thank you. And you'll probably have an outro in a minute. Cheers.
Thanks.
You saying bye, Sam?
Bye. So that was episode 18 with StaticX. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yep, and if you stuck around for our lengthy gig review and slight rant about social media phones and all the slight things like that, thank you very much as well.
It was just a little bit of a rant, wasn't it? But,
Yeah.
we nearly went off on one.
Yeah, I think we nearly broke out into a mass debate of
Okay.
mass debate.
So I wasn't here for that one. But
That's how we bond here as a podcast.
No.
If you've got this far, as Lund said, you probably can check out other episodes.
Yes, if you are from the last episode with Sean Smith, a massive thank you for checking it out. When we're recording this, it's only been out for a couple of days. But anyone who's listened to it, shared it, just promoted it in general. It's super appreciated.
Massively.
And we really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Go on, I was going to say check out some bonus episodes as well, because with us being our
Yes.
favourite month of the year,
month's that, Matty?
chucking out some bonus episodes of Halloween related stuff.
Yeah, so there'll be some horror bonus
Yeah.
content coming soon.
Yes. Before we drift off the topic of StaticX, once again, a massive, massive thank you to Martin from Bespoke Media PR, who got us the opportunity to be able to speak to StaticX in the first place, and also got Sammy's good old photo pass to take some good old shots. As you could probably see from our artwork on this episode and what we're pushing up on our socials, make sure to check it out if you've not already, but thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you to Tony and Ken for sitting down with us, because they took time out of their busy schedule to talk to us, so we appreciate that as well. With the photos and video content, that's all thanks to Sam, so make sure you check out his stuff. He'll be doing a lot more with us soon.
And if you're a band looking for a good photo shoot, you should definitely check him out. Oxbloods have done a mini photo shoot with him in the past, and he is great to work with, and the shots are always mint.
Yep.
So yeah, even though we're slightly biased because he is now part of our Earful Podcast team, you should definitely check out his work. On the topic of Oxbloods, though, we have a gig coming up next month, don't we?
We do.
With our good pals, friends of the podcast, Mr. Jack Valentine Parkinson. His band Yesteryears are doing their debut show at the Tudor in Wigan. We, being band practice room buddies, are supporting.
Which will be a great night as well, because you know we love the Tudor.
Yep. They are selling t-shirts to fund their studio thing, and possibly we may be selling t-shirts too.
Could be happening. We're a bit late to the thing, aren't we? Really, a bit late to the party.
we're super late to the party. But yes, we may be releasing some t-shirts in time for that show. But if you're free on November the 23rd, make sure to pop down to the Tudor in Wigan and have a good old time.
And if you want to find out more information about that, head over to Oxblood's page or Yesteryears.
Yep.
For more information.
Thank
And
you.
don't forget about our socials, An Earful Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And subscribe, follow, tell friends, enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Spread legs, not lies.
Fact.